Okay, we are back with part 3, and as you can see here, I have cut the 4 out. After we done the tack down stitch, now we're just going to put it back on the machine and start the satin stitch. Don't forget to go in, take your hoop at an angle when you go in, and we're going to go ahead and do the satin stitch. So now we're just going to satin stitch all the way around, and then once the satin stitch is done, we'll go ahead and put our jump stitches. Okay, we have finished at number 4. We're going to go ahead and let our presser foot up and bring our shirt on off the hoop. I'm going to go ahead and cut my jump stitches, and we have the number 4. Look how pretty that is. Okay, now the next step is to do the horn for the unicorn, and I'm also going to do that in this teal color. So I'm going to place my shirt back on the hoop. We're going to let down our presser foot and hit go. And of course, again, the horn is going to be an applique, so this is going to be our placement stitch. Okay, so the placement stitch is done. We're going to grab our, some companies call it glitter canvas, some companies call it embroidery vinyl. We're going to grab this and place it on our hoop, and I don't need that much, but I just need to make sure that this is going to be wide enough. We just slid it underneath there, and we're just going to click go so we can do the tack down stitch. Now that the tack down stitch is done, we're going to go ahead and cut around our stitches again for the horn for the unicorn. Be very careful, as we stated before, don't get your stitches. The stitches is kind of what holds the applique in place, so that way when you go back in with the satin stitch, it doesn't move. That's why they call it a tack down stitch, because it tacks down the material that you're using. As you see, we have our horn now for our unicorn, and again, I'm just going to go back through with my curved scissors because I always just feel like I can get a little bit closer with those. And you don't have to use embroidery vinyl. If you just want to use glitter HTV, you can. There's a lot of embroiderers out there, they just use glitter HTV. So I'm just cleaning up these small pieces. We got that done. And so what I'm going to do is put my shirt back on the hoop and proceed with the next step. So what they have next to come up is the ears for the unicorn. So I'm going to go ahead and change my thread color, and I'm going to do silver ears. So this is going to give me the outline of the ears, and it is a placement stitch, but we're not going to place any fabric or anything for that. We're just gonna let it be plain. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread my machine by following the numbers. For the ears. So I changed my color to silver. I'm using Smith thread. My machine likes the thread, so I'm gonna continue to roll with it unless I can find something that is a real good deal. So we have our machine threaded now. I'm gonna go ahead and click go so we can start the ears. Okay, so we have done the ears for the unicorn. There is a jump stitch, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that jump stitch off. If we wanted to place anything there, that would now be, you know, the placement stitch for the ears. But as I stated previously before, I'm not going to do anything for the ears. So we're just going to go ahead and go to the next part, which would be the tack down stitch. So I'm going to lift my presser foot up, take my shirt off the hoop, cut the jump stitch again, and then it's going to take us into the next step, which is going to be doing the first rows. And so I'm going to take my thread off, and the first rows is going to be purple, so we want to make sure I have the right color, which is lavender 612. This is lilac. I'm trying to think, is this the color I used today? Nope, here it is. So I'm going to thread my machine with this lavender color. Now, of course, when you are embroidering with fabric, you should always place heat and bond on the back of your fabric. That is to prevent you from getting bubbles. You'll be able to apply heat to those sections to have it stick to your shirt. So now that we have our machine threaded with the lilac color for the first rows, I'm just going to place my shirt back on the hoop, and we're going to put our presser foot down, and we're going to go ahead and click go so that we can get the placement stitch for the first rows. So we have the placement stitch for the first rows. Now I'm just going to take my purple fabric that I've already placed the heat and bond on the back, and we only need a small piece. I'm going to put that down so that we can go ahead and do the tack down stitch for the rows. So I'm just going to press that down and hit go. Off the hoop, this is what it should look like with your fabric on. And now I'm going to cut the excess fabric off. Okay, so we got the bulk of it off. I'm just going to go back through just to clean it up a little bit more. Is ready to do the placement stitch for the next rows, which is going to be pink. Now I'm not going to change my thread since it's just the placement stitch, so I'm just going to leave my thread purple because that's just going to save me a step, and go ahead and let my presser foot down, and then go ahead and click go. Now we have our placement stitch for the pink rows, and this is the color pink I'll be using. It's like a hot fuchsia pink. So I'm just going to cut that off, and we're going to go ahead and place that underneath our needle so we can get the tack down stitch for the pink rows. Once you get your fabric underneath the foot pedal, go ahead and click go. So I'm going to go ahead and let my presser foot up again, take my shirt off the hoop. We have the pink fabric in place for the pink rose, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess off. And I always say those scraps because sometimes when you're doing appliques, all you need is a little piece of fabric. You don't need a whole lot. So I have a basket full from when I was doing masks, a basket full of just scrap fabric, and I do have some mask orders that I have to do, so stay tuned for those videos. Those will be coming out as well. So the shirt that I'm embroidering on is a shirt from my own line. When COVID-19 hit, a lot of the big retailers that offer embroidery blanks ran out of these puffy sleeve shirts. So I decided to see if I can reach out to a vendor that I use to see if I could get some. And I was able to, so I do have these shirts available on my website. All that information will be listed in the description box below. In addition to that, I offer some other blanks as well that I use for my business. So, and these shirts embroider pretty good. I do like them. And that's what I'm embroidering on today. Now I'm just cleaning up around my applique, because of course, like I stated before, when you go in with that satin stitch, you don't want those raw edges to be showing. And that is the pink rose for the unicorn. Now we're going to go in, and I'm going to still keep my thread the same because right now we're just doing placement stitches and tack down stitches. We'll let my presser foot down, and we're going to go ahead and do the placement stitch for the rose in the center of the unicorn. Now for this, we're going to be using glitter canvas again, and it is a kind of like a rose gold, I would say. It has a pretty shimmer to it, so that's what we're going to be using for this. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on, and then we're going to click go to start the tack down stitch. So now that the tack down stitch is complete, we're going to let our presser foot up again, take our shirt off the hoop, and once again cut around that material. Now this design that I have, the rose overlaps the horn, so make sure that you're very careful, especially if you get the design I'm using, and you don't cut your horn. So I'm just going around to get this off, and what I'll do is I will continue to do this. We'll get ready to start the next part of the video. When we come back, we will start the satin stitches, and we will begin with the satin stitches of the horn, and it's also going to give us some definition on the horn. So I will continue to clean up this part of my applique, and on the next part we'll be working on the satin stitches of the horn.